Okay, we're going to continue on in our Father's Word. This is Judges chapter 6, verse 32. Therefore on that day he called him Jerubbaal, saying, Let Baal plead against him, because he has thrown down his altar. And all the Midianites and the Amorites and the children of the east were gathered together, and went over and pitched in the valley of Jezreel. But the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet. And Abiezer was gathered after him. And he sent messengers throughout all of Manasseh, who was gathered after him. And he sent messengers unto Asher, and to Zebulun, and unto Naphtali. And they came up to meet them. And Gideon said unto God, If thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said, behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor. And if the dew be dew on the fleece only, and it be dry upon the earth beside it, then I shall know that thou shalt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said. And it was so. For he rose up early on the morrow, and thrust the fleece together, and wringed the dew out of the fleece, a bowl full of water. And Gideon said unto God, Let not thine anger be hot against me, and I will speak but this once. Let me prove, I pray thee, but this once with the fleece. Let it now be dry upon the fleece, and upon all the ground let there be dew. And God did so that night, and it was dry upon the fleece only, and there was dew on the ground. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him, rose up early, and pitched beside the well of Harod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north of that side of them, by the hill of Moreh, in the valley. And the Lord said unto Gideon, The people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands. Lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, Mine own hand has saved me. Now therefore go to proclaim the ears of the people, saying, Whoever is fearful and afraid, let them return and depart early from the Mount Gilead. And there returned the people 22,000, and there remained 10,000. And the Lord said unto Gideon, The people are yet too many. Bring them down to the water, and I will try for them there. And it shall be that of whom I say unto thee, These shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee. And of whomsoever I say unto thee, This shall not go unto thee, with the same shall not go. So he brought down the people into the water. And the Lord said unto Gideon, Every one that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him thou shalt set by himself. Likewise, every one that boweth down unto his knees to drink. The number of them lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water. And the Lord said unto Gideon, By the 300 men that I lapped, I will save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand. And let all the other people go, every man into his place. So the people took their victuals in their hand, and their trumpets. And he sent all the rest of Israel, every man into his tent, and retained those 300 men. And the host of Midian was beneath him in the valley. And it came to pass that same night, the Lord said unto him, Arise, get thee down from the host, for I have delivered it into thy hand. But if thou fear to go down, go thou with Purah, thy servant, down to the host. And they shall hear what thou say, and afterward thy hands will be strengthened to go down into the host. Then went he went down with Purah, his servant, unto the outside of the armed men that were in the host. And the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the children of the east lay along in the valley like grasshoppers for multitude. And their camels were without number, as the sand by the seaside for multitude. And when Gideon was come, behold, there was a man that told a dream unto his fellow, and said, Behold, I dreamed a dream, and lo, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the host of Midian, and came into a tent, and smote it that it fell, and overturned it that the tent lay alone. And his fellows answered him and said, This is nothing else save the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, the man of Israel. For into his hand have God delivered Midian and all the host. And it was so when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and the interpretation thereof, that he worshipped and returned unto the host of Israel and said, Arise, for the Lord hath delivered unto your hand the host of Midian. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in every man's hand with empty pitchers, and lamps within the pitchers. And he said unto them, Look on me, and do likewise, and behold. And when I come to the outside of the camp, it shall be that, as I do, so shall ye do. When I blow with a trumpet, I and all that are with me, then blow ye the trumpets. Also on every side of all the camp, and say, The sword of the Lord and of Gideon. So Gideon and the 100 men that were with him came into the outside of the camp in the beginning of the middle watch. And they had newly set the watch, and they blew the trumpet and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. And the 3 companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers, and held the lamps in their hand, and the trumpets in their right hands to blow withal. And they cried, The sword of the Lord and of Gideon. And they stood every man in his place round about the camp, and all the host ran and cried and fled. And the 300 blew the trumpets, and the Lord set every man's sword against his fellow, even throughout all the host. And they fled to Beth Shishah in Jerath, and to the border of Abel Maholah, unto Tabbath. And the men of Israel gathered themselves together tonight out of Naphtali, and out of Asher, and out of all Manasseh, and pursued after the Midianites. And Gideon sent messengers throughout all Mount Ephraim, saying, Come down against the Midianites, and take before them the waters unto Beth Barah and the Jordan. Then all the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together, and took the waters unto Beth Barah and the Jordan. And they took the 2 princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb. And they slew Oreb upon the rock of Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb. And pursued Midian, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of the Jordan. Now this is Judges, chapter 8. And the men of Ephraim said unto him, Why hast thou served us, that thou callest us not, when thou wentest fight with the Midianites? And they did chide with him sharply. And he said unto them, What have I done in comparison of ye? Is not the gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim better than the vintage of Abzar? God hath delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeb. And what was I able to do in comparison of you? Then with their anger was abated toward him when he said that. And Gideon came to Jordan, and passed over he, and the 300 men that were with him faint, yet pursuing them. And he said unto the men of Succoth, Give, I pray you, loaves of bread unto the people that follow me, for they be faint, and I am pursuing after Zebath and Zalmunna, kings of Midian. And the princes of Succoth said, Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in thy hand, that we should give bread unto thine army? And Gideon said, Therefore, when the Lord hath delivered Zebah and Zuma into mine hand, then I will tear your flesh with the horns of the wilderness and with briars. And he went thence up to Peniel, and spake unto them likewise. And the men of Peniel answered him, as the men of Succoth had answered him. And he spake also unto the men of Peniel, saying, When I come again in peace, I will break down this tower. Now Zebah and Zalmunna were in Car